What's up, earners? Welcome back to my channel. Today is Vlogmas day 3 and I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how I prayed for and manifested my dream car. Lock her up, makes noise. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look inside. It does have a feature to where it somehow can like automatically lock if you put your keys near it or your hand near it, if you're like less than something feet away. I don't have the specifics, I'm not the best with cars. But here goes the inside. I did add my own little jewels just because I wanted to kind of customize it a little bit. Same thing with my push to start button. Here's how this part's looking. Here's gonna be gear shift. I really do like this. The top, scoot forward, and you can also scoot it backwards. You can lift it. As you can see, it's a little dark, I apologize. Here's the steering wheel. And then if we take a look to the back seat, I got some paperwork back there. How this is looking. And let me show you guys the trunk. You really can just lift up right here. And I got the hatchback. It's a little dirty. Here's my emergency stuff. Pull it out here. You can see that the emergency tires right there. That's kind of how that goes. There's also this right here, which you can pull over, connect. If you don't want people to see your stuff, you don't want to put anything heavy on it. That's kind of how the whole back looks. So what's really cool about this is obviously there's settings where you can go in and you can change everything all the way from like your system, like how things operate, to the clock, to the phone, to all that stuff. I'm not the best with technology, so ever since the guy at the dealership did it, I just left it. You can go here to the audio, which you have to plug in the USB to have Apple CarPlay. You can go here to the phone, but obviously I don't want you to see any of my recent call logs. Press this back button, that's how I got out of that previous screen. It's pretty self-explanatory. There is a manual. You have heated seats. This controls the temperature. So if you look, it goes higher, it goes lower. This goes higher air conditioning, this goes lower with air conditioning. This one is synced on both sides, but if I unpress this, then this side can have, see, a different temperature, but I want to sync it, so we're gonna make it the same. This is where everything's held at. I don't know if you can see, but right below here is where the Apple CarPlay plugs in, and kind of some extra storage. I don't really use it. Oh, and then I always use the economy or eco-friendly, I don't know what this is called. This button shows up as green right here, and this just saves you gas. It really does work. I don't know how, but it does. I do have my lane assist on. I believe you press this button to get there. Again, I'm not the best with cars, so not the best person to ask, but just kind of a little rundown for you. Oh, and your hazard lights are gonna be right here. This has actually been like I want to say about a 2-year process. I knew in about 2019 when I wanted to get a brand new car. Now, a little bit of backstory. Every car I had was either gifted to me by like a family member, or I paid for from a family member, or I went to a used car lot and got it. So I never actually like picked out a specific car, a model type, a brand name, a color, anything like that. So this was my very first time doing any of that. With this being my very first car purchase, brand new car and choice of car, I knew that in 2019 I wanted to get a Honda Civic. Now, I wasn't sure the exact models or anything like that. I think at first I started with like the Honda Civic sedan, and then I looked into it and I was like, okay, I really like the hatchbacks, because when I had the Vibe, I didn't like the hatchback when I had the Vibe at first for whatever reason, but then when I no longer had the Vibe, I knew that I really did like the hatchback part, because that's what made it so small, and that's why it was able to, I feel like, park in smaller parking spaces. It was a lot shorter. I feel like a lot of the other cars are a lot longer because you have that whole trunk plus the back seat, versus the way that the hatchback is designed is you could still have your back seat while having a trunk. That's why I personally like hatchbacks. So I knew in 2019 I wanted to get a black Honda Civic hatchback. Even had it on my manifest board, so I'll put a clip here. Through knowing that, you know, I was working on my dad's house because he had passed away, so that wasn't really my priority at the time. I had my Impala, so I didn't really like necessarily need a car. I kind of just had it in my mind of when I either need it or when I really want it, I'll get it. So at the end of 2019 in December, I looked at my boyfriend and I said, hey, let's move out of state. So the car plans were really weird, because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a car and then we'll make 2 trips. We'll drive his car out here and then we'll fly back home once, you know, we have a house here, and then we'll get my car and drive it back. But taking 2 27-hour drive trips is really stupid. Just with 2 people, it just wasn't gonna work out. Think about it, if I buy a car in Indiana and then I drive all the way to Nevada and put all those miles on it when I could have just avoided all those miles and got it here, it's kind of stupid, especially if I just get it and drive it here. I decided to put those plans on hold. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get a car when I move to Nevada. I sold my car in Indiana and we took 1 car here. The plan was when I got here to get a brand new car as soon as possible. A lot of other things happened. I had my new job, we had to get, you know, the couch, a lot of just things that you think, like I said in like other videos, you think you have more time to do things than you actually do. That was kind of the case for me. I don't really know what happened, and it was a really scary thing. Like that and buying a house just seemed like a really scary thing to me, just because I'm not necessarily educated on it. Now I feel a lot more comfortable since I've already done it and I've had these experiences that I'm about to share with you. But prior to this, I was just so terrified. Like I thought I needed my mom and everything. Even when she flew out here in the beginning of 2021, I felt like I needed her to go with me to go look at cars, but then towards the end of the trip we finished everything else besides that, and I was like, you know what, I don't need you. I need to like step out of my comfort zone and push myself to do this. So fast forward a year later, after we moved here, my poor boyfriend, I decided, okay, let's start getting this process going. So in June of 2021 we decided to look at the 2021 Honda Civics, and I think when I was talking about the 2019 I was actually looking at the 2020s that were coming out, because now everything's like pushed back because of COVID and stuff. So then it wasn't like that. Everything was coming out brand new for the next year, like 3 to 4 months before the year ended. I also had on my manifest board from this 2021 year a Sonic Gray Honda Civic Hatchback. I'll put a clip right here. I changed my mind from the color because I originally wanted black because I was in Indiana and black just matches with everything. But then here in Nevada, I was like, oh, it's gonna be way too hot. I don't really want that. But honestly, it doesn't really matter to me because we have the windshield guards out here. Plus it was $400 cheaper than using the Sonic Gray. Let me get into the stories because it seemed like I wasn't even gonna be able to even get the car model that I wanted at all because they weren't getting any more in. In June, we went to look at a car dealership. I spoke with someone. I almost signed the paperwork. They ran my credit and everything, and I looked at the numbers and they had all these packages added on. There was something else on there too, and just things that didn't make sense to me, and it was way more money than I had estimated it for it to be. I left the dealership, you know, took pictures of the paperwork, whatever, called my mom, and then figured out basically that those packages, you don't need them necessarily, and they're literally just so they can make commission. But because the car market is so weird right now, like that's how they're selling. If you don't buy it, someone else will. So they will actually like turn you down and refuse you. to. Now the guy I was working with, it seemed like he was gonna lower it, but then we just kind of didn't have the best experience. The next time we went back, things were confusing. So I just kind of like scratched that car dealership. I had kept calling around to different places, and I finally settled on another one. The other ones, they didn't have what I wanted. They just kind of seemed like didn't have the right vibe. I finally got hold of the one that I ended up purchasing through, but at first, on the phone, it seemed like a really good experience. I had spoken with a certain individual, and that's who I thought I had an appointment with. Well, we show up, and some other guy like literally approaches us at the end of our car in the parking lot, and it's just like talking our head off, and was like, oh, okay, I'll go get so-and-so that we were supposed to meet with. Well, then he comes back and says he's busy and that he's gonna help us. As we're talking, he's just kind of like, I don't know, his attitude was just really rude in my opinion. Then he made it seem like the guy we were supposed to meet with was just like a customer service person, so I don't really know. I was kind of confused. Long story short, he said, well, the car's not even on the lot yet, sweetie, and used that derogatory term towards me, and I just thought that was like very inappropriate, especially in like front of my boyfriend. Like, read the room, dude. Don't talk to people like that, especially like a young lady. Don't care if I seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, or if I seem like I do, or if I seem like a bitch, or if I seem nice. You don't do that. Like, I knew when I was a server not to do things like that, so you as a car salesman should like have that knowledge. And he then told me that he refused to take back my offer because he's not gonna waste their time, because I wanted all the package stuff taken off, and basically if I didn't buy it, someone else will, and he will refuse me. But the way that he went about it was just so rude. He could have did it completely different. We left there pissed, not necessarily about the information, just the way that he went about it and the words that he chose to use, and his overall tone and just his energy was just like so dickheadish. We ended up coming home, and like I felt completely hopeless. Like I was bawling my eyes out because I was like, this was my last dealership that I felt comfortable with. All the other ones are sold everywhere else. I literally have no idea where to go from here. Like, do I look at different car models? Do I look at different brands at this point? Because I don't even know if I want a different brand. Like, I still probably wanted to go with Honda, but I was just so distraught and so lost. I was like, Lord, what do I even do? Like, I just can't believe this. My boyfriend wrote a review on Yelp saying what had happened. Oh, and the guy also threw out a guy that's supposed to be the customer service. He said that basically he'll tell anybody what they want to hear to get them in, because he gets paid per person that come in, whether they buy anything or not. One, if that's true, why would you rat your coworker out like that? And two, why would you rat the company out like that and tell a customer that? Like, that's just so weird to me. That's why I was just like, you have dickhead energy. Like, I can't even mess with you anymore. I'm sitting there that night and I'm just like so distraught. And like throughout this whole process, like even in June, the first dealership that I went to and everything was just kind of weird. The numbers were wrong. I just kept praying to God. Maybe you're trying to teach me something. Maybe you're trying to just continue to educate me each time something happens where I think it might be a negative. Maybe you're trying to just teach me things so that it'll stick in my head so that I will be educated the next place that I go or the next time I do this. So I just kept looking at it like, okay, it's a lesson. You're having me wait for a reason, and I'm just gonna give it to you. It's all in your timing. It has nothing to do with my timing. Even though I need a car really bad as soon as possible right now, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna let you take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm gonna let you drive this thing and go in your path. Then that night when we went to the second dealership and we dealt with the mean guy, just sitting there crying, I'm like, Lord, I prayed so much that night. Right when I got home, when I was taking a shower right before bed, and like during this time too, I was also praying every morning and every night, just being like, thank you for giving me a job. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. I thank you for having me wake up today. Thank you for having me to be able to see, to have energy, to have transportation to get to this job, to have the funds to take lifts, or whatever the case may be. I was just praying every morning, right when I woke up, and every night before I went to bed. This particular night was just like really long prayer. Lord, I know whatever you have in store for me, you're gonna get it taken care of. I have no clue what this means right now, and that's okay, because I know I'll figure it out. I know you'll do something for me. Basically, that was kind of the gist of it. I can't remember. It was like super long and like very in depth. That way I was like really praising him and letting him and myself, you know that this is in your path, your timing. I give it all to you. Give it all to you. And I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that and reiterating everything that basically had happened and telling him and myself it's a blessing. I'm learning from it. I really did learn some things today. Basically that. Next day, my boyfriend decides, you know what? After he'd already left the review the day before, he's like, I'm gonna call. I was like, no, don't. He calls and he speaks to someone. Basically like, I don't understand why his customer service was like this. You know, I work in sales and I don't treat people like this. I know you have a job to do, but it just could have been presented differently. And the guy was like, let me give this to my manager. I'll give you a call back. Instantly, the manager gives us a call back and he's like, I am so sorry this happened, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, here's what we could do for you. What about if I take all the package stuff off and I'll give you the car for about whatever, 28, whatever. He was like, okay, cool. He's like, well, we did want to get the door edge guards on there. So like, how would that work if we're not getting the whole package? And he's like, you know what? Let me just throw those on for free. everything ended up working out, even though it, you know, there's an issue. So we settled upon the monthly payments, we settled upon the number, whatever. And he's like, okay, how about you come in today? We'll get you taken care of. We go in, get everything signed, and literally everyone is so nice to us. So I don't know if everyone was just on high alert, like, hey, we had a mess up, so you need to be really nice to these people, or if I just got placed with the correct people that I needed to be placed with. I think it was a little bit of both. Everyone was so nice. The manager that we had spoken to, that we went in there and did everything with, because we just said we don't want to deal with dickhead, like, at all. Like, we do not want him to be on this whatever. Turns out I looked at my paperwork and he's on there, so I don't know if it's a good thing, because since he didn't get the package, I don't know if he got the commission and that was like a slap in his face, or if he still got money off of it. I have no clue, but that was kind of weird. I was like, whatever, at least I don't have to like physically deal with him. Long story short, the manager was super nice. The customer service person that was going to be helping us today, we picked up our car, walked in, shook his hand, we got to meet him. He was super nice. Went to the finance person, he was super nice. He even threw me a deal on the, not just like the car warranty maintenance thing, it was like the extra. I'm not good with these terminologies. Like I said, this is my first purchase, so it's like, even with the car review, I'm just not that person. So that's why this was literally the hardest thing of my entire life. To get your tires looked at, or to get your oil changes, all that, like the warranty, like in addition to the car manufacturer warranty. So they threw us like a really good deal for like maybe $5 extra a month, and it was gonna be way more than that, but at first I was like, nah. I think either because of my experience or just because they were really nice, they gave me a great deal. I even told someone else about it and they were like, oh, you got a really good deal. And I went and picked up my car, and the customer service guy was super nice. He was super thorough, thoughtful, and all the questions I had, all the paperwork I needed, all the things that I needed, he just like really went above and beyond and helped me. So it ended up being a really good situation. Now, the little meanie guy, it's funny because we went back there the day to actually sign the paperwork, and the manager's like, come in today and we'll get you taken care of. He was there and he's like, hey guys, just want to apologize for yesterday. And like, I did not look at his way. Like, I don't have anything to say to you. So my boyfriend was like, right on, man, thanks, I appreciate that. And I didn't say nothing. I don't have nothing to say to you. You tried to call me names, and I feel like you degraded me as a woman, so I don't play that. I read people's energies and I see through bullshit, and I just feel like in his personal life, I feel like he probably does not treat women very well if you're gonna treat a complete stranger like that. Now, if I was being a bitch, I get it, but you're in customer service, baby. I was only being a bitch because you were being rude to me. Regardless, I didn't say nothing. I just kind of walked away, and then as we were walking, I just kind of started laughing. I was like, that's funny. Good for him for, you know, stepping out of his comfort zone and saying sorry. Hopefully he learned a lesson from this. And regardless, hopefully he just doesn't treat anyone else like this ever again, personal life or especially customer service. So, because it looked really bad on his business. Then I went and picked up my car, and now I have my car. I picked it up with 6 miles on it, and I literally love this car. I love how it drives. It reminds me exactly of my Vibe, which is the car that I really, really loved. It's small enough because I'm not good with driving big cars. I feel very comfortable in it, and I'm just very, very pleased and happy with my purchase. All my manifestations, but especially my prayers, really came true, and I really do have to give it all to God, because he really did all this for me, and everything did happen for a reason in this specific instance. I'm very happy with that. If you guys have any questions about my car buying purchase, the stress that I went through, any of that stuff, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. I answer all my comments. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you also go ahead and subscribe down below. Also click that bell for your notifications, and I will catch you guys in the next Vlogmas video for day 4. Bye!